The injury bug for Notre Dame quarterback Riley Leonard continues. Marcus Freeman announced as such on Saturday. So we're going to talk about that in today's video, plus some other headlines from Marcus Freeman's press conference on Saturday afternoon. Before we dive into it, folks, please hit the thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, of course, and go over to blueandgold.com for much more on this and other Fighting Irish football and recruiting headlines. So, timeline here. Back in October, Riley Leonard injures his ankle against Notre Dame when Howard Cross brings him down. And then, what was it, back in January, the tightrope surgery to help clean up that ankle. And then injury, or kind of the third piece of news with this ankle we learned about today. So tell us what Freeman said on Saturday afternoon, Jack.
Yeah, Marcus Freeman announced that Riley Leonard had yesterday, I believe, so Friday, a second surgery on that right ankle to repair what he said was a stress fracture that was developing. He is expected to be out for most of spring practice, if not all of it, but Freeman wasn't ready to declare him out for all of spring practice, which ends April 20th. So that is the Riley Leonard update. That is what's going on with him.
Yeah, so quotes, Freeman said, the doctors thought it went extremely well, talking about surgery. The overall prognosis and health of his ankle is excellent. So we'll see when he can get back. We're not putting a timetable. We know it's going to be a few weeks. So he also said, we're not saying he's out for spring, like you said, Jack. My guess would be, he'll be out maybe later in, April or something. He'll start doing some stuff, but I wouldn't expect to see him in the spring game on April 20th. That will be a lot of Steve Angeli, Kenny Minchie, and CJ Carr, the other quarterbacks on scholarship. So we all expect it to be Riley Leonard as the starting quarterback. I'm sure Steve Angeli and all the other quarterbacks expect that as well, but it's still a competition per Marcus Freeman. So where does the quarterback position where do things go from here the rest of the spring, Jack?
Yeah, so Freeman said that, Steve Angeli is working with the ones while Riley Leonard is out. Kenny Minchie's working with the twos, CJ Carr's with the threes. When they have periods of practice where they just go ones and twos, they'll occasionally rotate CJ Carr in there with the twos. But Freeman did specify that Steve Angeli is clearly ahead right now of Minchie and Carr. So he's getting all the reps with the ones. He made it clear that he doesn't want Angeli to get complacent with that. Keep improving, but we know Steve Angeli. We know that's what he's going to do. Freeman said that Riley Leonard's injury could change the timetable, potentially change the process of naming a starter, but they do need to name a starter at some point. Freeman has said that his goal was doing that, out of spring camp before fall camp, and we'll see if that changes now. I don't think Freeman really implied that it's going to. He also said that, he stressed again that they have to look at the entire body of work for these quarterbacks, which, kind of reading the tea leaves there, it kind of indicates that they're not going to let an injury in spring camp for Riley Leonard stop them from making him the starting quarterback, given what they know about him, what he accomplished at Duke, what he can do on the football field. So again, I would still anticipate it being Riley Leonard. Obviously, this injury won't, at least they hope, won't affect him anywhere near the actual football season. So that's kind of where things stand on the quarterback front.
Yeah, I mean, think about the Leonard thing. Like, you just hope that this is it. Like, there's been some recurring issues with this ankle, but you just hope that this is it. The ankle's good to go, and that this is not something where he's just an injury-prone guy. Like, you just really hope that it's good, and then he's at 100%, and he can move forward, and that this doesn't continue, because the ceiling for the Notre Dame football team is pretty darn high. With Riley Leonard, and you just are very thankful that you have Steve Angeli as your on your roster right now, potentially QB2, assuming that Leonard gets the job like we all would expect. And yeah, I think if you're Steve Angeli, you got to look at this and be like, man, this continues to happen. I mean, I'm here and I'm ready to take the job if it's if I get that opportunity. So yeah, Notre Dame quarterback room, I think, is in a good spot as it's been in quite some time. Another minor injury notes, Jack, was Deion Colsey. What can you tell us about the senior wide receiver right now?
Yeah, Deion Colsey dislocated one of his fingers, had surgery on it, or either had or is about to have. I forget which one it was. But he should be back at practice next week. Won't be catching any balls, but he'll be going through some drills. So he should be fine.
Yeah, another guy though. The injury bug for Deion Colsey just been struggling to stay healthy throughout his Notre Dame football career. Freeman was also asked about the most impressive like some of
Yeah.
the freshmen that have been standing out. That's always something of high interest, Jack.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some big name true freshmen that the Irish signed in that 2024 class. The name he singled out, though, shouldn't come as a surprise.
Correct. It's Bryce Young, defensive end, wearing number 30, obviously the son of Notre Dame legend Bryant Young, NFL Hall of Famer, played a long time with the San Francisco 49ers. Bryce, he singled out as being the guy who's the college ready body is the phrase he used. I mean, he's a monster if you see him in person. Bryce Young really looks like he's going to be a good player here. But Freeman also, whenever he's asked these questions, he goes out of his way to say, like, look, every process is different. And the two examples he uses, like, you could be Benjamin Morrison, a freshman All-American, or you could be Xavier Watts, who spent the first 2 years of it. I wasn't here for that, but first 2 years of his career, I believe, kind of tinkering around with his position, not really getting on the field much, if at all, then explodes in year 4. Every process is different. Freeman always goes out of his way to mention that. But yeah, Bryce Young is the guy standing out right now.
Yeah, you mentioned Xavier Watts in that safety position, so he's one that is locked in. You feel really good about. What about the rest of the safety? Because that's definitely an interesting kind of spot moving forward, especially with Rod Hurd. He's around but not practicing yet.
Correct. Yeah, with Rod Hurd not practicing, Adon Schuler and Luke Talich, Freeman said, are getting the majority of the reps with the ones. Ben Minnick getting a lot of the reps with the twos. But Freeman said he expects all three to contribute this year. Rod Hurd, I think, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, but we expect him to get the first crack in fall camp at the starting safety job opposite Xavier Watts. But people forget about this Notre Dame team is that they ran a ton of free safety. They called that spear personnel package on third downs, passing downs last year, to the extent where, like, if you look at the snap counts, Ramon Henderson, transferred to UCLA, he got 300 snaps as a third safety last year. So regardless of Hurd's status, like Schuler or Talik, they're going to play this year. There's a spot for that third safety. Freeman said Schuler and Talich both look really good right now. I think that's important given how much they love that dime personnel package.
Spear package. I feel like every few months we get some kind of new position or a new package on this Notre Dame defense. Always things changing and updated. Speaking of updated, you can find much more on Notre Dame football and recruiting over at blueandgold.com. So please check out our website. $1 for 2 months is our current offer for you guys using the promo code UND1. So please check that out over at blueandgold.com. Hit that thumbs up on this video if you have not done so yet. And as always, we will catch you next time.